Okay, I believe there we are. We're live now. Okay, great. Welcome everyone to IOBEA, the Americas. We are hosting a webinar today, and I'm glad to be here and glad that you all are joining us. This is Brian Wozniak. I'm one of your co-hosts, along with Will Horne and Daniel Miranda. And we are product and business consultants with IOBEA. We work with a number of different organizations that utilize the IOBEA platform for visual management, KPI tracking, and more. And we're going to take you through the webinar today. We're going to talk a little bit more about what our platform can do and showcase some things to you that may be of interest to you. Everyone that's in the webinar today has the ability to make comments or ask questions. And so we encourage you to put the questions and comments in the chat. We will be monitoring them throughout the webinar. We will not address the questions until the end of the webinar. So we have time at the end where we're going to have a Q&A session. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it. So what our agenda is for today is we'll do an introduction. So I'll take care of that and take us through about 5 minutes. Then for the bulk of the webinar will be a role play. And so our focus is on operational excellence, as we have myself and Will and Daniel. We all have a background and varying degrees of expertise in operational excellence, stemming from continuous improvement in lean to business agility and project management. Two specific areas that we're going to hit on today are SQCDP, so safety, quality, cost, delivery, and people, or what we refer to in IOBEA as our QCD or our KPI module. And we'll also discuss or cover some of our continuous improvement in lean and problem solving capabilities. And then, like I said, at the end, we will reserve some time for questions at the end. So first, IOBEA. What is OBEA? So what is an OBEA to begin with? So OBEA is a Japanese word for large room, translated into English. My background is management consulting. When I worked as a management consultant, many times I worked with clients, and we referred to the OBEA or the large room as a war room. So up on the room, as you can see in some of the pictures, we would put various different things up on the wall, where we may have some, sticky notes for planning up on the wall, maybe in one wall. And another wall, we may have KPIs and other type of planning activities. And another wall, we may be tracking actions or problem solving and so forth. And so that's what an OBEA is. Or that's what we mean by OBEA. IOBEA, what we've done is that we've taken this OBEA concept and we've digitized it. So a lot of the things that you do or can do in a room or on boards on the shop floor or in other parts of a physical workspace, we're able to do in our platform with IOBEA. And so we're going to be showcasing some of those things to you today. And just a little bit more about IOBEA before we jumped into it. The background is we were founded on lean and agility principles. That's where we got our start. We worked with a number of different organizations that where they had requests that they made in order to can you develop a KPI or like a KPI type of module, and we've done that for them, and problem solving type of activities, and we've done that for other clients. And now what we've done over time is built it into a platform that we can utilize with various different clients throughout the world. It is enterprise grade. So we work, whether it's on-premise for those that work in the defense, as a defense contractor, or work in the government world. We do have an on-prem version. Many of our clients work in the cloud. And so, but it is enterprise grade, where we have the ability to work with different companies, where we have one company, for example, that has thousands of rooms within IOBEA, because on the platform in IOBEA, everything is built based on different rooms. And so, so we have some clients that really utilize the IOBEA platform extensively. So we can use it at an enterprise grade level. And a big part of what many of our clients do is team-based collaboration, especially if they're in different parts of, let's say, a facility or different parts of the same state or country, or even in different countries. We have it where everyone can go into one place, which is the IOBEA platform, regardless of where they're located, and they all can collaborate. Based, depending on where they're located, they all can go to one place to be able to perform different activities, such as whether it be planning or brainstorming or cover KPIs, daily rituals, and so forth. One of the keys to IOBEA is that we have the ability to access, as long as you have internet access, you have the ability to access IOBEA anytime, at any place, and on any device. And so that's the kind of a high level view of our platform in a nutshell. And so now I'm going to transition. We're going to transition over to our role play. So we will have two of my colleagues. We have West Coast Will over. He's a supervisor over on the West Coast, and he is mainly using paper-based type of products in order to run his plant in his area within the facility that he supervises. And then we have Dan the Man. Dan the Man is on the East Coast, and Dan is more into utilizing digital type of solutions and platforms, including IOBEA. And so this is going to be a dialogue between two supervisors in the same company doing many of the same things, but they're doing it differently. One more digital, one more on paper. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the baton to Dan the Man and West Coast Will.
All right. So, hi, Will. How have you been? It's always good to see you on our monthly calls. I've been hearing a lot about your plant's lean initiatives on the West Coast. So I'm curious, what are your processes like?
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm happy to be here. So just to kind of go into it, I'm sure you're probably pretty familiar with it, but we really stick to the basics. We're currently still on paper, and we use SQCDP boards for huddle board sessions. And at the end of each day, we track our metrics and plan improvements. It's been working okay. A lot of the people in our plant like having the paper-based solution. But sometimes it feels like we're bogged down because we have a lot of paperwork, we have a lot of binders and everything like that.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I used to rely a lot on paper too, but transitioning to IOBEA has made a huge difference, especially for our plant. Do you want to see how it could work for you?
Yeah, I'm pretty curious, but I'm also skeptical because paper is reliable, even if it's tedious. But yeah, how does IOBEA make things better?
Yeah, I get it. So why don't we start with something a little bit simple? Okay, so we're talking about those SQCDP boards, but rather than having a paper-based one, we have a virtual one. All right, so it's all digital, and instead of the letter shapes that you and I are familiar with, IOBEA uses dynamic rings to track our metrics.
Rings. All right, I'm familiar with those. But can you tell me a little bit about how they actually work? Like, how do they allocate for indicators and thresholds?
Yeah, great question. All the metrics that you track on paper, so indicators, thresholds, targets, are uploaded and configured into IOBEA. All right, the rings will dynamically change colors and show you your progress, so it makes it really clear when targets are met. So for example, on today's date, I have all my metrics here. So was there any rust today? No. And as I go along, you can see that it's changing the background. All right, so I will put my figures in for first pass yield, for example, and then rework rate. So today was a pretty good day. All right, and then it's all uploaded and making it very clear, when you're on track, off track, as I said.
That sounds really convenient. But a question I have is, what if a ring ends up being full? Because I can see that, there's a limited amount of areas to put in the info there. What happens then?
Oh, yeah. So if I were to fill up this ring, it's pretty easy. I can just move on over to the next month, and then I'll have a blank page of all my metrics. So kind of like just getting a new piece of paper in, or updating your current board to the newest month, but it'll do that for you. And great thing is you can always reference past data without digging through old files. So if I were to just go back to May, all of my information will be in there.
All right, that's quite a step up from shuffling through the binders that we used to have to work with. So that's really nice to see, actually. It's very convenient. But what about deviation? Like, how do you handle deviation?
Yeah. So let's say, we didn't meet our targets today, and, there's a deviation. IOBEA will flag your deviations automatically. So for example, if we fall out of our threshold, so let's go below. All right, so some simple figures here. All right, so as you can see, it's getting updated based on everything. It's live, it keeps going. All right, you'll see the red indicator, and if I try to continue and do anything else, all right, IOBEA is going to ask me if I want to add an action. So it's very important I do so to stem it down to the root cause analysis and figure out what's going on today. All right, but I will add an action. Okay, and when I'm here, I have this pop-up. So I'm going to take our attention over here on the gray area, all right, towards the left, and here we can start filling out issues. So we can have a indicator come up. So for quality, we have a quality issue. We'll keep it very, very simple. Quality issue, too much rust. Okay, and then you can really configure it so it can be as detailed as you want. So we can have categories. Is this a defect? Is this a machining issue? So is this personnel? So I'll put it as machining. All right. The criticality of the deviation. So is this a blocker? All right. Is this trivial? Is it minor? So I'll select major for now. So the cause we don't know. All right. So we're just going to keep that blank. And this is where it's great because anyone who has access to the room, who's on the floor and has the permissions to update information, you can assign them to be the owner, or you can assign yourself. So my name will already be in there, obviously. So I'll select my name. We don't have the solution, but we can even figure out when the due date is. So is this something that we need to solve today? Can it wait a day? All right. So you can really point that. So I'll put it for tomorrow. The status, all right, the priority, all right. And what's also great is I can create a synchronized action card. So let me show you what that is. So when I click save, this is what my deviation will look like. All right, so a few things happened. So my actions plans list got updated. So we see our quality issue there. We see our card, which we will ignore. All right, and then our ring is quite updated. So making sense so far?
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but I'm following.
Okay, great. So yeah, and let's see what we could do with this deviation. How can we continue it? Okay, so here we have the synchronized card I was talking about. All right, I signed it to myself, and I can move it to a fishbone. So I think on the West Coast, you guys use fishbones a lot. Am I correct?
Yeah, I like fish. But yeah, so fishbone diagrams, I draw the worst fishbone diagrams. So anything that I can not have to do that anymore would be great for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. So what I'm doing now is if this is something that would happen to me, I would go to a fishbone like you. And trust me, mine were terrible when I drew them. This is my exchange zone. So picture this like your pocket when you're in your Obeya. All right, you want to take some information from one wall and one board, place it in your pocket, and go to a different board. So in this case, our fishbone. So now it's in my pocket. I'm going to travel virtually, of course, to my fishbone. Okay, here it is. All right, and then I can basically update this, upload this onto my board, and then we are gonna figure out the root cause analysis.
Awesome, that's actually pretty slick. So now you don't have to chase down people to update these items, huh? And you can do your fishbone right here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, everything is synchronized in real time, so that's what's very convenient. And your team will stay on the same page. It's still best practice to follow up. I mean, I still do, just to be thorough, but IOBEA definitely makes it more clear.
Awesome. All right. So we took a look at this fishbone diagram. So you would go through the whole process and fill this out. But what about other letters? So we talked about before you showed us Q. What about the rest of the letters?
Yeah, so I'll show you my dashboard. So here we go. And this is what I got for you today.
Oh, okay. So this looks a little bit different. And it looks like you are tracking multiple letters and rings at once.
Yeah, that's right. So these rings are time frames. So if I just zoom in a bit, we have our dailies, which we saw in the Q letter before. We have weeklies, and you can even have up to a third one, a third ring, if you wanted to go by shift, for example, and add another daily for that shift. But yeah, it's very convenient because, like I said, you can configure the time frames. All right. So in comparison to the daily ring that we saw on the last board, which was just one circle, you can really customize it.
Hmm. Very nice. So I'm noticing I see these little black dots in there. Like, can you, like the and what do those black dots indicate?
Oh yeah, good eye and good question. So these black dots, if I just zoom in a little bit, these black dots represent open actions. Okay, so it's really convenient because it's very visual. And if I were to just click on one, I can just view the action and it's going to sort that out for me, and I'll know exactly what I'm looking at on said letter. And you can you can always just click on them, and then it shows all the details and like who's responsible. So this one's mine.
Awesome. Okay, so let's say, for instance, if there's an action that's outside of my scope, can I notify or possibly send it to a different team that may be responsible?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do one now. So let me show you how you can escalate an action with just a few clicks. Okay, so here, let's just say we surpassed our threshold. We have a lot of incidents. Okay, so if I try to continue, we know we have this at the action box. All right, and I will fill this out. So we have a leak on the floor. Okay, we can categorize this. So this is a machining criticality. So 6 incidences. So this is quite major. All right. We can go into details, broken pipe. All right. Causing spill. All right. Since I'm on the floor, I will choose myself. Okay. Solution, we don't know, but this is an example where I would need my leadership. Okay. And this is what's great about it. Before, we kind of paid attention to this gray area. All right. So we already know it. So now I'm going to take your attention over here to the right side. So when I'm kind of backed into a corner and I need help from leadership, like I said, this is where I would do that. So in IOBEA, you can essentially connect your dashboards to other dashboards or other rooms, so that if information needs to be, shared, cascaded, or escalated, you can absolutely do that. So right here, I have an escalation option. If I were to click there, you can see I can share with my team 1, my team 2, or my executives. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to communicate this to them, but I can't just send it right away. You have to be quite thorough, all right? And you need a reason for escalations, right? So what I will do is basically put a reason, and let's just say this is our protocol when there is a pipe leak. Okay, so I will click save, and it's a little bit different from before. So we have a new black dot, which you asked about before. We have this leak on the floor here on the top right. Okay, but as it is a visual digital solution, you notice anything on this one from the leak on the floor in concerns to me escalating it?
It looks like there's a blue thing there showcasing, and it says exec.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
right?
So exactly, yeah. So it's very visual. All right. So that means that, let me just zoom back in. That means that this particular deviation already traveled to my executives. So they have this information. The ones that can stay kind of within the plant and are just our deviations, you'll be able to tell which ones because there won't be the blue little icon there. All right. So now you must be wondering, like, okay, how does this look like from my executive's point of view, right? So
yeah.
let me do that. Yeah, let me do that, and I'm going to jump to a different board. Okay. And this would be my executive's board, an example of one, right? So what's going on here is basically they have their dashboard, okay? And they have their own actions plans list. You could see here that there is a leak on the floor that I escalated, okay? As these load, okay, so this board should look familiar on the top right. This is where we sent the information from team 1, okay? They sent the information over to here, okay? And we have all of the details that the executive should know, all right? And what's interesting about this board is it's actually the average of both plants and how they're performing, or should I say both teams. Okay, so if my leadership wanted to manipulate any of this information, so I'm clicking, nothing's happening because there is a formula set up for the average. So it gives you a pretty bright idea of how your teams are performing in an average sense, and that could be modified. But to kind of tune back to our deviation, I see it here, right? And I can reply to this. So if I were to view this, double click and just view this action, okay, I will have immediately all the information that was sent from my team one. Okay, so this is something that maybe has happened in the past. So what I can do is, I like to be thorough. I'll put it in the solution and also to the answer. What I'll do here is put the repair team on the way, right? So they were contacted. So I'll copy that, paste it here, all right? And let's just for fun, move the status 3/4. We know they're on the way. There's only one more step to go. All right, and when I click save, what it's going to do is take that message and send it back to pretty much here, my team one team. Okay, so if I go back, I'm going to see if you notice another change. So we're back on our team one board, and let's look back at our actions plans list. Anything different you notice?
Yeah, I see. It looks like it changed from blue to green.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, excellent. So that's how I'll know, and anyone who is on the floor that day, that's how we will know that we have a response. Okay, so if I double click, it's all the information that my leadership gave for me about this leak on the floor. All right, and I could see here, okay, the repair team's on the way. All right, wonderful. So let's say they finished a couple hours ago. So what I could do is actually just close this action. All right, and if I zoom out, it's gone from my actions plans list, but it will remain red on safety for that day to communicate that there was in fact a deviation that day.
Okay, so you just closed that action. Does that mean, can I reference those later, or are they gone?
Oh yeah. So you could definitely reference those, and it depends how you have your actions plans list set up. So I just have to go to the settings, and here are the statuses that we were playing with a few moments ago. Since I closed it, I don't want to see them. Otherwise, it's just going to overpopulate my actions plans list. But if I were to select it, yeah, they'll all be there, completed ones. So that's one way to go about it.
Awesome. So even if the actions are closed, I can still reference back to them. I really like that a lot.
Yeah. You can reference them at any time. Historical actions are easy to find for audits or performance reviews.
Awesome. Well, question. So I see, what is that, a Power BI dashboard there? And is this integrated into IOBEA? And is there any other tools that I can use to display as well?
Yeah, so it is. Yeah. I remember you guys use Power BI too. And you could definitely connect these with embedded code. You can integrate other tools like Power BI directly into IOBEA. So it's pretty perfect to create a unified view and referencing your data. So I can also interact with it if I need. So if you see it there, just going to zoom in. Everything's getting highlighted.
Very nice. Well, this is honestly very impressive. I feel like it could save us a lot of time and a lot of headaches.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. And yeah, I definitely have a few less headaches, but IOBEA just doesn't just digitize your processes, it streamlines it, giving you more time to focus on improvements rather than administration.
Awesome. Well, we also have a lot of problem solving and continuous improvement processes that we're also working on as well, but we still have it all managed on paper. So do you utilize, or does IOBEA have any tools to, utilize problem solving processes and continuous improvement as well?
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's a good point, because we looked at more, KPIs and metric tracking, but absolutely. Okay. And it's so much easier than managing it manually. And let me show you how it simplifies problem solving while keeping everyone on the same page. All right. So first here is an A3 problem solving board. So Instead of piecing together handwritten notes or documents or magnets, whatever you use, this board consolidates everything into one place, okay? You can outline the problem, analyze root cause analysis, and build your action plan quite easily. And you could sort of customize it in a way, because I know everyone's A3 is just a tad bit personal or indifferent, but yeah, you can essentially streamline it all here.
So I can manage the entire problem-solving process from one board then?
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. And look at this. You can directly link your data into, the board. So, for example, let me just click on this fishbone that we went to before. All right. And it's a live preview. So I'm just going to move this card up and just basically hit back. So in real time, you'll be on the same page. So there's that card moved up. All right. And it's quite, fluid and convenient.
That's actually a game changer for me. Wow. Okay. And it also looks a lot cleaner than my hand-drawn fish bones. So that's really nice too.
Yeah. And so it definitely keeps everyone on the same page, and you could build your action plans list, like I said. And so no more drawing those awful fishbone diagrams. And plus, all these are actionable. So you can assign them, track deadlines, monitor status update without flipping between binders or tools.
Yeah, that would save us a lot of time. So I really am liking that. Let's talk, what about bigger projects? So we often get bogged down trying to coordinate different phases of product development. Is there anything that you may have that may alleviate or help us in that realm?
I've got you covered. I'm using this one right now. So here's a product development macro planning board. So I'll just double click and it's going to take us there. Okay. So here, you're going to see everything on my macro planning board. It lays out every phase of my project from, pre-study. I labeled them all in yellow, all the way to ramp up on dynamic timelines. The tasks are color coded. So you can see the owners, the deadlines, dependencies, all at a glance.
Wow. So if there's a delay, I can just adjust the schedule right here.
Yeah. So this is very familiar to the macro planning boards that, are on magnets. So it's the same concept. So I want you to pay attention to this last phase. Let's say there is a backup. Okay. And I don't know if you could see this, but this is today's date, right? This little light blue sliver there. But let's just say, phase 6 is actually going to get backed up till today. So just pay attention to the bottom left. My dates will automatically change. But, I like to be thorough, right? So I would probably manually put it. So I can move this back to April 4th, okay? And it'll adjust itself back. All right.
Awesome. Well, this would make my life so much easier because everybody sees the same plans, the same updates, and I don't have to chase people for updates.
Sorry, let me just do that one more time because I think, there we go. Yeah, exactly. So that's the beauty of it. It connects the tools like the A3, the problem solving, the Ishikawa, the macro planning, everything that we just saw. So your team can focus on problem solving and improving the processes instead of, managing paperwork, which you and I both don't enjoy.
Yeah, it's been getting old for me, but I have to admit this solves a lot of our pain points, and you're really making me feel a lot better about converting over. I'm really starting to see how this will work for us. So thank you for showing.
Yeah, definitely. I always like to share some new ideas, but thanks for exploring IOBEA with me, Will. What do you think? Could this work for your plan out in the West Coast?
So I came in skeptical here, but it is actually solving a lot of issues that we've been struggling with. And we're currently on paper, so we have to digitize. So this would be a great alternative or a great way to digitize. So I think we want to give it a shot.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I'm always here if you need a hand. And during my IOBEA pilot, I was able to digitize all of my paper processes with my IOBEA rep.
Pilot? What do you mean by pilot?
Okay, yeah. So for example, I had a 3-month pilot. They call it proof of concept. to test the platform, exchange information and feedback during my lean operating cadences meetings. And honestly, it only took me about a week to start using IOBEA effectively.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Although I'm wondering, how did you build the boards to mirror your processes so easily and quickly? Like, I mean, we're really busy, and I don't know if I'll have time to build all these boards. So did you do all this?
Oh yeah, something I went through too. Sometimes yes, but I reached out to the IOBEA team. They have no problem building these boards. They're very experienced when it comes to lean and continuous improvement, and they could also provide trainings and consult what to do with my team to make it make sense for us, right? And in our cases, and if you want, I can put us in contact with my IOBEA rep. Perhaps we could do something during our next monthly.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Thanks, Daniel. I'm excited to see how this can transform our operation.
All right, thank you, Will. So we will transition back to Brian. So thanks for your attention.
Very good, guys, and well done. It was a great walkthrough. So now we are going to open it up to questions and answers, and then we'll have a quick wrap up at the end. And so we've managed to capture a few questions that came in during the webinar. So we're going to move over to a board. We have a Kanban board that we set up in order to kind of answer the questions one by one. So we'll start with the first one, which is, our first one is embedding documents into IOBEA. So the question is, what else can you embed into IOBEA in addition to Power BI? So good question. In short, there's a number of things you can embed where you can interact with it live. Typically, they're going to be items that have that are web-based. Well, they got to be web-based, and we're using a technology called iframe. So some of the ones that we can integrate with, in addition to Power BI, are Tableau documents that you have on SharePoint. We can integrate YouTube videos, sometimes things from Google Maps, some websites. It's possible, although the websites are a little bit hit or miss, and a few others. And so so there's many things that it's possible to integrate with, but there's a certain technology, a third-party technology that we're utilizing called iframe, and that iframe technology is what's driving us to have the ability to be able to integrate with different type of softwares that are out there. So good question. That is our first question. Next is a question regarding templates. And so the question is, something was mentioned about creating templates. How do those work? Okay, from a template standpoint, so we have the ability to create individual board templates. Where we have a number of board backgrounds that are available in IOBEA, a little over 200 that are already native to the platform. However, you have the ability to be able to create additional ones, and so we can do that at the board level. We're going to have a specific board background that maybe you have a certain design of A3 that you use internally, and you want to continue to use that rather than the A3 that we have available on our platform, and we have the ability to do that, and we can show you how that's done. So we can do it at the board level, but we also can do it at the room level, where we can have a series of boards that are all within one room on IOBEA, and then we have the ability to be able to create or recreate all of those boards in a brand new room, so that if you, for example, are rolling out the same boards, the same KPI boards, the same type of boards with specific backgrounds, and they're going to be common to all new locations that would start utilizing the IOBEA platform, we have the ability to go ahead and just create them for you automatically, and then you would have all of those boards as a baseline to begin to develop your room. So we have templates that can be done at the board level and at the room level. So good question there. Next question. We have one about board backgrounds. Okay, actually we had one specific about board backgrounds. I'm going to open it if it'll let me open. There we go. So we saw some backgrounds like the A3 fishbone diagram. What other backgrounds do you have? As I just mentioned, actually, we have over 200 different backgrounds that are already available as board backgrounds within IOBEA. They range from problem solving, such as the A3 fishbone diagram and more. We have other ones that are utilized for organizing brainstorming sessions. And we have others that are for calendars and so forth. So we have some that are used for decision matrices, risk matrices. So we have a number of them that are available that can be utilized on the platform. So good question there. Jira integrations. I had a question about Jira integration. Is there any native integration between IOBEA and Jira? And the short answer is yes. And so we have a native bi-directional integration between Jira and IOBEA. So you have the ability now, Jira serves as the single source of truth, and IOBEA is just mimicking what information and data is available in Jira. And so they will appear as cards, very similar to what you see up here on the board, like this. And it's a bi-directional link. So if you make a change in IOBEA, it will push back into Jira, and if you make a change in Jira, it'll push back into IOBEA. And so one of the advantages of that integration is that we're leveraging the visual management capabilities of IOBEA, which are not as strong as in Jira. So Jira is a very good software. It works very, very well for those that utilize it, but the visual management capabilities are not quite as strong, especially for those that are non-Jira users. So if you have a project team where you have a number of users where you have some Jira experts and some that may not be so competent in Jira, it becomes a very usable or a very useful way to be able to hold meetings and other rituals, because now you can utilize the visual management platform aspects of IOBEA, which is a bit more user friendly than Jira for those non-Jira users. Another question here regarding roadmap. So what is the 2025-26 features roadmap? So good question. We don't have all of the details regarding the roadmap at our fingertips as we speak. However, there is something that IOBEA is working on that is that would be a potential upgrade to the existing platform, where a lot of the different cards and features that we have in IOBEA now will be enhanced in various ways. And unfortunately, just don't have all the details to share that all right now, but that is being worked as we speak. One that we probably can talk about right now, because we have at least some information on it, is, for example, is we have a Gemba Walk app. And so for those of you that are utilizing Gemba and Gemba Walks, maybe associated with leader standard work, we have a complementary app that comes along with IOBEA, where you can utilize it on a tablet or on a phone, where you create a checklist, and you have the ability to have someone access the checklist. So when they go to perform their Gemba Walk, and this is assuming this would be for Gemba Walks where they're going to be doing a similar type of cadence, a similar type of checklist that they would be covering every time that they go on a Gemba Walk. So you can create checklists, different checklists. They would bring up the checklist. They would utilize their mobile device to make comments, to say that they've completed that particular task. They can take pictures that can be uploaded in IOBEA. You have the ability to, for the QCD module that you all saw, you have the ability to actually add counters, like if you found a defect, or maybe you were making an observation and those were being captured on a board with an IOBEA, you would have the ability to add those to the number count, and they would appear in as a value within the QCD module. So that's all we can really share for you right now regarding the roadmap, unfortunately, but hopefully that was at least some use to you. And I think that's it. That's all the questions we have. So just a quick wrap up. A couple of things that I think are key takeaways coming out of this that I hope that you have found helpful to you. So we've gone through the different QCD or SQCDP boards that we have within IOBEA with dynamic rings that help to track performance and highlight deviations, issues, or problems real time. We explored how you can escalate actions from one level to another. We saw how you can integrate with different tools such as Power BI, and that can extend beyond Power BI to, we have a Jira integration like someone asked, and Tableau and other tools. We covered problem-solving tools. So we have different problem-solving tools that you can utilize within IOBEA, such as an A3, fishbone diagrams, and we have more. There are others. One that we didn't have time for today, but we do have a problem-solving card that can be utilized as a mini A3 that we'd love to show you sometime for those that might be interested. And we also showcase some of our planning boards where you can lay out projects in phases with dependencies and updates and so forth. So I think that about wraps it up. I hope that you all found this helpful. And if you have any questions along the way, feel free to reach out. We'd be between myself, Daniel, and Will, we'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have, or perhaps to demo the platform for you. And we would love to do that. So hope you have the great rest of your day. Take care, and hope to see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.